What up, YouTube? WebMike here, and I want to dive into the hidden depths of Aquaman 2018. James Wan said that if you were a fan of this film, please do not berate people who weren't fans of this film. And I think that message of openness and communication ties well into the overall movie, because initially, Arthur decides, I'm going to go after King Orm. I got my mother's trident. It represents her ideals, and her ideals were better. Might is right. I'm going to go foolhardily headlong into this battle. I'm not going to learn anything about Orm, anything about Atlantean politics, history, culture. Just go for it. What happened? His trident, his mother's trident, shattered. And then he had to pick up the pieces and go on from there. And yes, King Orm was acting tyrannical. However, Arthur himself was suffering from a tyranny of his own, tyranny from within. Now, in the video game Jade Empire, there were two philosophies you could adopt. The way of the open palm, which was of compassion and forgiveness, and the way of the closed fists, the way of aggression, independence, all that good stuff. And they each had their pitfalls, and one's more obvious than the other, but you would think, well, how can openness, compassion, and forgiveness have a pitfall? Well, it ties into if you think that your ideals, your morals, are so right, there's nothing else right, and if people oppose you, they are wrong and evil and must be dispatched, that is its own form of tyranny, tyranny from within. So again, with his ideals shattered, Arthur has to go on to a new quest to discover Atlan's trident. And he goes along with Mera, goes to the deserter kingdom in the Sahara Desert, finds a path to the trident that goes through the trench. The people that supposedly killed his mother are utterly disgusting, you never want to deal with, but he has to go through them anyway. And he does. And then he finds his mother. But also, there is Atlan's trident. However, it is guarded by the Karathan. A kraken, perhaps, of magnificent proportions, and no amount of force can fell it. He tries again and again, but no blow can fell it. But what happens? He decides to try to talk to it. And then what happens? The creature stops and goes, wait a minute. You are utterly unworthy. And he himself knows this too. Arthur recognizes that he is not worthy of the Atlantean throne, but he is doing this out of love, compassion, and wanting to unify people and save people. And the Karathan says, wait a minute. You heard me. None of the champions before have done that. So then, the Karathan, by the way, voiced by Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins herself, neat little tidbit, decides to let him try to claim the trident. And he does. The altar or visage of Atlan himself allows him to take it, adopt his power, and gain the awesome gilded suit that we know Aquaman. And he goes after King Orm. And what happens this time? It's a little different. Fight's not so one-sided. Aquaman is able to get the upper hand, shatter Orm's trident, but it doesn't end there. Does he kill Orm? No. He has him taken away for a tribunal hearing or a prison, and he tells him, when you're ready, let's talk. So here we have this message of openness and communication, potentially finding new friends, turning enemies into friends, and allowing for true strength through unity. Just goes to show that you can't just drown out the opposition in your discord and turn the tide in your favor. Are there people in your life that perhaps you have tried to do that too? They don't know what they're talking about. I know what I know and I'm right. But have you ever sat down and had a beer with them, talk things out? Maybe you learned something about them and they learned something about you, and maybe the dynamic would change. Now, yes, there are fights you do have to fight. There are some things that cannot be avoided. There are some moral absolutes out there, and there are things that you should or should not do under any circumstances. But what did JFK say one time? We must never negotiate out of fear. but let us never fear to negotiate. And I believe that's a message that carries over well into this movie. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thumbs up if I'm right, thumbs down if I'm wrong. But hey, either way, I want to hear what you have to say. All right, thank you for your time. WebMike, out.